Chapter 34. One way or the other. The change in Tom's demeanor caught Dylan's attention. "Stay here," he whispered to Skye as he pushed her back and grabbed his own rifle. Dylan stepped up beside Tom. "What do you?" Dylan saw it too. A flash of blue in the grove of trees. "He's running." Tom, Dylan, and Wade raced out the front door. Tom yelled back to Tricia, "You know what to do." The men rushed out to the wooded tree line facing the living room, but whoever it was had disappeared. A squeal of tires against pavement on the other side of a small rise told them where, but by the time they got to the top, the intruder was out of sight. Grateful the rain clouds were breaking up, Dylan headed back to the stand of trees and waved Wade and Tom over. "Let's see what we can find out." Tom looked up at the upstairs window of his house. Tricia, Skye, and Jesse aimed rifles out the window. "I'm really hoping one of them doesn't shoot us." Wade and Dylan gave a deep chuckle of amusement. "We've taught ours how to shoot," Wade said. "What you been doing with yours?" "'Cause last I knew she was a lousy shot." "Tricia is probably a better shot than you," Tom said. Dylan glanced up at the house and scoffed, then he got down to business pointing out what he saw. "Yeah, someone's been here. A man, most likely. It's trampled, he stood here a little while. Left behind a couple of these." Dylan kicked at a few hotel-size bottles of alcohol littering the ground. Wade scratched his cheek with the palm of his hand as he examined the scene. "Did you see this, brother?" "Yeah, he came from and headed toward the road." Dylan pointed in the direction he meant. "Let's check it out," Tom said. The men hoisted their weapons and retraced their steps to the small hill, their feet sinking in the rain-soaked ground. They topped the rise and looked over the scene below, hoping to see something new. A car-sized square of dry pavement stood out on the empty rain-soaked street. Dylan tracked the stranger. He was moving fast. "See? He fell here and slid on the wet grass." He looked at the other two men. "And from what I'm seeing, this isn't the first time he's been here." Tom's jaw set at the news. One look at each other, and the men scattered. One up each side of the street, and the other over the hill on the opposite side, but their investigation led to no more clues than they already had. Tom frowned and huffed out a breath. "I'll check with my guys around here, but why would any of them do this? They don't need to be casing my house, they can just come on in." A scowl covered Dylan's face. "Nah. There ain't no reason for someone friendly to do this. Something's up, Tom, and I don't like it." Tom's eyes narrowed as he scanned the empty hills. "Neither do I, neither do I." Wade offered his opinion in the form of a large splat of saliva he spewed to the ground. The men milled around for a couple of minutes, but unable to do anything else they walked to the house. Once there, Tricia headed straight for Tom, hugging him in relief as he told her of their findings. Dylan looked at Skye. Her worry eased once Tom said the person had left. Skye made her way over to Dylan, and they hung back as Tricia invited the others out to the house's fenced-in patio. Dylan put a light hand on Skye's back. "You okay?" She nodded. "Yes. I mean, it's disconcerting, but there is nothing to do." Skye glanced up at Dylan. "I was actually thinking of something else." Dylan raised an eyebrow. "Well, your family, Dylan. It might be a good time to contact them. I really hope you get better news than I did, but I'm sure you want to know one way or the other." A tear trailed down her cheek, and she brushed it away. Dylan nodded as he lightly ran a hand down her arm. She was right. This could be his last chance to call his dad. Skye settled outside with the others, and Dylan went to the phone. He chewed the side of his thumb as he listened to it ring. When his dad answered, relief rolled over him. Dylan's voice broke as he addressed his father in their native language, one of the few words he knew. "Son, is that you? I've worried about you." His father's voice quivered. Dylan's chest swelled as it always did when this man claimed him as son, then the familiar ache started. Emotion often welled up in Dylan when he spoke with his real father. To have a parent care for him as much as this man did moved Dylan, and while tears were hard to come by, the ache was not. Dylan slowly rubbed the spot at his heart, trying to get it to calm. "Are you well? Is Wade healthy?" his father quickly asked. Yeah. Well, Wade's dad died." Dylan's tone was flat. It was no loss to him. "But me and Wade are fine. How about you and yours?" "Better than most. When this disease started, we enforced a strict quarantine here, so we kept the number exposed to it low. We've lost a few here, but none of your brothers or sisters." Dylan felt a burden lift he'd been unaware he carried. He had several siblings on that side of his family. His father had been married twice, both times to women who loved raising children. It was a relief they all were okay. "Come here to us, son. It's not that easy. I've taken in well, we've been helping out a woman and a boy. She's got a bit of family left here, and I reckon she won't want to leave." "You have a woman now?" His father's voice lifted with interest. "No," Dylan quickly said. "No, I didn't mean." His father broke in and chuckled. "Sounds to me like you have a woman." Resigned to his father's humor, Dylan gave in. "I don't know what she is, but we're helping her." "Bring her too. And your brother and the boy, there's room here for all of you. It's where you should be, where you always should have been." Dylan bowed his head. A part of him did belong there. "I'll keep it in mind, but your place is a ways off. We had trouble getting to Sky's family, and she's closer. We shouldn't go that far unless we have to. We're set up pretty good on the mountain, but Dad, we just might end up there, if need be." "Her name's Sky, Dylan laughed. "Dad. I like knowing there's someone for you." Dylan looked around the corner to stare at Sky sitting with the others. "She's someone all right." "Good. Keep her. And know I'm here for you. Our people have existed long before this thing, and we will exist long after. You need me, I'm here." "Yeah, Dad, I know. You've always been there for me." Father and son exchanged contact information, including where they would leave sign if either left their area so the other could follow, if it came to that. Dylan then told his dad everything he'd learned about the AG flu. They stayed on the phone as long as they could, first with small talk and as that dwindled, content with silence, grateful for the connection between them. When Dylan hung up, he raised his hand to the tears slipping down his face.